There we go. It's kind of accidental. It's not drastically faster, but it is somewhat faster. Fast enough for me to want to do it again, so I'm gonna need to steal some more copper. Thank you. Now, faster production also means more power is being drained, but it's not exactly that I'm lacking power, even with this thing being built and operating. There we go. There we go. That should speed up the thing a bit. And that's pretty much it. We have now finished everything we need in order to actually make the rocket. And that's it, the first part. We need to make 100 of them. But there we go. That's it. Now it's literally just a waiting game. Not even a waiting game for research, but a waiting game to finish. The moment this gets to 100%, the rocket is completed. And that's game over. I should definitely put the fuel into a box of its own, I believe. Because it's gonna overwhelm that thing. There we go. And a bigger box, maybe? Oops. There we go. That should do the trick. That way this box won't be overwhelmed. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. The moment you do this, when you set up the production for the rocket assembly, that's it. We reach the end. Now it's just a matter of getting this all sorted out to get off the planet. If you want, you can make productions better, you can increase the amount of items you're making, you can fight to your heart's content, whatever you wish to do, but that's it. There is no more. Everything that's remaining in the game is essentially playing with what's left of the research, so which in our case is just the artillery and the Spidertron, which is just a giant mech. And because you get it so late in the game, there is not much use in having it unless you're... I'm struggling to think of a scenario in which you would actually need the Spidertron. Because if you were in a situation earlier in the game where you can't get any further, then you won't have the resources to research and build a Spidertron. And if you're in a position where you're late enough into the game that you can build everything, then again you don't need a Spidertron. The only reason that you would need a Spidertron is if you actually want to annihilate everything in your path and just clean up every single biter that you want. Spidertron is essentially a multi-missile launching tank. And what's cool about it is it works with nuclear missiles, which is another thing that you don't really need unless you plan to fight extensively. For all intents and purposes, as long as you plan to build a resource base and just then expand into the surrounding areas. All you really need is just to have a stable base, stable economy, and that's it. Everything else is optional and it's extra. That's one of the complaints I have about the game, is that half of the, well, not half, but a solid portion of the most powerful things, by the time you get to it, there is no call to use it anymore. Now the two most powerful things in the game, which can kind of break the game in a way, apologies, are the artillery cart and the Spidertron. And I say break because artillery cart can fire at biters from behind defensive fortifications, so you can annihilate an enemy base, and from far away you just need to have the visual on the base, and you don't even need to have a visual, you just need to have it visible that it's there on the map, and you can just mark these locations for fire, and then whatever survives just move in with either a tank or the Spidertron, and you sweep them away. So there, we're already on 2%, and the third percent is gonna be made in a moment. So there is no real reason to do it. You don't really get anything from it. If you have some kind of a grudge against the biters and you want to just wage war and just clear them out systemically, and if you want to make a mega base and just spread outward over and over, killing everything in sight, then yeah, then you can utilize the cart and the Spidertron to your heart's content. You can load it with nuclear missiles and just waste everything in sight, but there is no real call to do it. If you just want to run through and finish the map, there is no point. Is this full? No, it's not, but it will be soon. We're actually waiting for uranium. Oh, did we run into a position where we no longer have any uranium? Is it not being mined? I'm gonna visit our uranium mine to see what's up. I know that it has the acid it needs to operate, so let's check what's wrong. Also some nice metal music there. Is it that the train has stalled, or is there a problem with the train? Where is our uranium? Why are we getting any? Or is it just that it each almost broke it? Should probably fix that right away. Whoopsie daisy. Okay. Oh, there goes the uranium. It just took it some time. Let me check what's the situation here. All the drills are operational, there's plenty of acid, and there's plenty of drilling happening, so there is nothing to worry about here. We can on, and I could probably make this a bit better. Yeah, we're gonna make this a bit better. Namely, we're gonna use a splitter for this. Fortunately, I have some resources on me. There we go. That's gonna make loading more efficient. Let's fix our car as well. I do like all the improvements that were made to the game since I played it before, when I do, among the things that I enjoy the most were the fact that the car is now armed as well. It has a little owned machine gun turret, so early game when you are able to build it, had a crash, you are actually able to fight against the biter bases using the car effectively as well. It's not just a means of transportation, it can be effectively used for combat as well. How it used to be in the older versions, it was just a means of transportation and nothing else. So the changes in the game that have been made very good. But like I said, the game's problems mostly are from the fact that when you reach late game, everything drags on for so much because everything is used exponentially in a bigger and bigger extent. You've seen that even my run, and I am by no means an expert player of Factorio, as you can see clearly, but while you can play this game in any way you'd like to and you'll still be able to finish it and run it any way you like. There we go, we're already at 4%. It's still the situation where late game what you have is just waiting and optimizing. You go to fight a random amount of biters if they're threatening you. Now granted, I had an easier time because I played on a peaceful world, meaning that I was only attacked when I antagonized the biters, so they didn't raid me as much as they would if I didn't play on a peaceful world. If I played on a non-peaceful world, then they would raid me the moment they reached a certain size and a certain distance from the base. For most intents and purposes, the only difference between the peaceful is who attacks first. In a peaceful world, the biters will never attack first. You will be always the antagonist, so it's for every single attack that occurred, and there were quite a few, it was the fault of me and my economy that were intruding upon their nests, and not them just feeling like they want to count my giblets. So it's that kind of an ordeal. If you select a peaceful world, you will have an easier time. What it boils down to is that you have to build less walls and less turrets. Everything else is pretty much the same. But you can see these kinds of expansions where you have to, would escalate the amount of resources you use for production, is what happens with every one of these factory games. Once we play Satisfactory on stream, you will notice the same things. It just escalates into a multiplication of items that come from the basic to the more complex ones. And it takes some experience to learn what's the most efficient way of doing things. If you remember, when I started the first time I was making engines, I only had one factory. Now I have 6. Red circuitry, I started with 2. Now I have 7 here and an additional 4 over there. And there are plenty of ways to making even that more efficient with more factories, but at this point it's not needed. And you have other examples of these situations all over the place. I think one of the most prominent ones are the situation with electric circuits and the advanced circuits, where you just need more and more of them because every advanced item needs either them or the components. So it does go to the point where it gets slightly ridiculous at sometimes. But that's what essentially these are, and there is a certain amount of joy, especially for me, because I enjoy these types of games. I know that these are not exactly the most fun things to always watch. It's not as, let's say, differentiated as, for example, Space Haven, where every system you have a potential new threat, even though those threats are sometimes the same. This is essentially setting up a factory, setting up a production line, and then optimizing the hell out of it and seeing what you can do better, what you can do more, what you can do, what you need, what you don't need. You can see that right now we're having an excess of purple science, and we were struggling to get a lot of that for a while. Now we're having problems with the yellow science, but strictly because the last bit of electronics, the processing units, take so much resources to make. And in fact, I'm just now looking where can I divert some circuitry over to feed this factory to increase the productivity of this. And I'm honestly not sure if I even can. For one thing, because everything is so tightly packed together. Sorry I'm yawning, but I am a bit sleepy and I do work tomorrow. One of the things that I'm sorry that I didn't get to experiment more with is the blueprint mode. There is a way to make blueprints. You can make actual and copy and paste, and it makes things easier when you have plans, but I didn't really have any specific plans, so I didn't use it. I was just building it as I was going along, and that's it. 5% already in what, 10 minutes? So that's pretty much it. It's now a waiting game to just make the spaceship and go away. Now I don't know if anything actually happens or you just get the scoreboard. In the back when I played it originally, what happened is you just got the scoreboard and giving you all the stats of your session, and that was it. I don't know if the things are different now. Also, let me see, can I make these out of pocket? Well, technically I could, if I had processing units in my pocket. How much does the yellow science need for these? It needs 2. It needs 2 per science. Okay. So the last half an hour of the stream we will just spend reviewing how this run was going and what we did. As this is the final installment, I might do another stream where I already went this to 90% and just to show off how it looks like when it ends. But as of next stream we will be playing a different game. I still yet have to decide which one that will be. I might be actually having one of my friends play co-op with me in Remnant from the Ashes. We might have I didn't decide if I'm going to be recording that individually or with him yet. We'll see. And so let's see. So we started our base just around here, I believe. Yeah, here. And we started with just a little smelting series here and there for copper and iron, and then we expanded. And over time we had to expand our brick production over here, and then the wall production connected to that. We connected the concrete production over here. This is the amount of smelting we had to do to feed our industry with enough iron that we need for all of it, and this is enough. This is enough for a base of this size. As you can see, I am not short on iron anywhere, and this is being supplied by 2 trains coming to over here, where they are mining all that iron from. At early stages in the game we did make this wall, which we also tied to an automatic feeding system for ammunition. Once you have laser turrets you generally don't even need that anymore, but you do have to keep in mind that if you want to use the laser turrets... I am actually running out of disk space to record. Let me check this. Yeah, I'm not surprised considering all the things I have already there. So I'm gonna free up some space. There we go. That should suffice for the time being. I didn't clear the previous recordings. Okay, that should suffice. Hopefully that doesn't really corrupt the file. We'll see. So I have a large disk that I use just for recording. Well, mostly just for recording. The games are actually saved on the file as well. It's a terabyte disk, but you know, these recordings are several dozens of gigabytes large because they're not compressed, so it can be a problem sometimes, but I should have enough room for this recording. I've cleared out the previous recordings. I'll also have to take a look to uninstall some of the things, because recently I've installed a bunch of games that I wanted to go back into that I just didn't feel like playing anymore shortly thereafter, which is at least, as well as some games that I was testing out for future streams. Alright, seems to everything is fine now. Also, okay, so let's get back to reviewing the base here. This part is kind of clustered, but this is essentially our plastic production, the sulfur production, the explosive production. Generally for ammunition, unless you're going really gung-ho and just constantly waging battles, you don't really need much more than this. You can make additional ammunition factories if you want to. Like, I have all of these grenade factories because I needed a lot of grenades early on for military science. It got full real fast. This is full as well. Yeah, it's full. There's more grenades here than I'd ever need. And how is this going? Yeah, they're already working on the third stack of not radioactive, the uranium explosive shells. Also, what's nice is these kind of connect, so you can just go from one to the next. And when you upgrade, the same goes for bullet ammunition. And you do want to have factories for these for ammunition as soon as you can. And not only because it will feed your turrets early on, but also because that will also be then upgraded to better ammunition types. There is a way to just chain these together, but I wasn't thinking ahead. So this is the uranium ammunition, which I might actually just take anyway. There are also a bunch of weapons I didn't play around with because I don't like them. So you start off with the pistol, and the pistol is fine for the beginning, but you want to get off the pistol as soon as you can, just because how ineffective and how fast it becomes ineffective because of its rate of fire and damage. You don't want it. It has a poor range. And pushing it is just no. You just don't want it. I mean, I think it deals the same damage as the submachine gun does, because damage is dictated by the ammunition that you use, not by the weapon that it uses. So it would be dealing the same ammunition, same damage as this does. But the rate of fire of this is just so bad that it's not worth keeping. You want to go to the submachine gun as soon as you can, because it has double the rate of fire. and you will be using the submachine gun all the way to the end of the game. The shotgun, shotgun's rate of fire is poor, but it can damage effectively multiple biters, and it is effective, but the rate of fire is poor, and it just is outclassed by the submachine gun in most aspects, simply because of the range and effectiveness. Also, you need more resources to produce the ammunition for the shotgun than you do for the submachine gun. The bullets are cheaper than shells, essentially. The combat shotgun is it's better. It deals with the rate of fire problem. I don't like it though. You can get easily overwhelmed because of the way it does. Now, it does perform a lot better. It can even keep groups of biters at bay until you start reaching the armored ones. At that point, you want to have the piercing shotgun shells, but even then, they are not as effective as uranium rounds. So, it is effective for groups marginally, but not to the point where I would like. Some people prefer it. I don't. Ammunition is too costly, and the range is an issue. What's the problem? 3 turrets are engaged with the enemy. Oh, we are getting attacked. We are getting attacked at the uranium mine, and it seems that the turrets have dealt with the problem effectively, but that also means that there is an enemy there that needs to be disposed of, so we will go visit the enemy. Before I do, I'm going to review the other weapons. Now, the landmines, they are effective because they have a large explosion radius, so when you're getting stormed, that's awesome, but they do take explosives to make. Naturally, it is an explosive device. They are good, so if you are playing on a hostile world and you need the only problem with them is that you will need to deploy them over and over and over again as they're getting used up. So that's the drawback with the mine. So that you have to actually go out and set them up each time they get used up. Each time you deal with somebody. And what do we have then? Then we have, for me, the most useful weapon of them all, the rocket launcher. If you watched my previous episodes, you know how much I love the rocket launcher. It's endlessly useful, especially with the explosive rockets, but even the regular rockets will do just fine. The range on the rocket launcher is essentially a sniper rifle. You can deal with even the spitters from far away. You will want to have some backup because the rockets are not smart. They will home in on the nearest enemy, and if using the explosive, the splash damage is a thing, which is just a part of the problem. And what was that, the base? Oh, that's where it is. Just gonna check where the corpses are. It might be that that's the base. Let's see where the corpses fell. Oh no, the corpses fell from the other side, so they are being attacked from something around here. There it is. Go. That's dealt with. We will take care of the other base as well. They didn't attack, but they will. They're close enough to be a threat. I think that they actually are in the... Yeah, they are. I have to deal with these guys as well. They will attack. That's not a matter of if, just when. So the rocket launcher is essentially your sniper rifle. You want to have that on your side. It is magnificent. You need to use that. You need to have that. And the last weapon is the flamethrower. The flamethrower is effective area effect weapon, and it can be utilized to great effect. But I don't use it a lot simply because of the amount of fuel it takes to be efficient. And oh, this is so nice. And I think that the upgrade to uranium ammunition speaks loudly enough for anybody. You can see how effective it is. It's marvelously done, and you want that uranium ammunition as soon as you can get it, especially when you are not playing on a peaceful world, and you are dealing with the hostile, because you can the uranium bullets can be used to feed your turrets, and for many things you want to have regular turrets, especially later on when you can use robots. You can use robots to feed the turrets. You just put requester chest for ammunition, and they will keep them fed. So it is a marvelous thing. Okay, let me check what's the. Are we actually getting fed on the red circuitry? We are. I'm guessing, yeah, that's because the furnaces have we fed enough furnaces. That is good. That is good. We're well off here as well. Of course, the green circuitry is suffering, but at this point, I don't know. I don't even care anymore. Another thing that you want to research as quickly as you can is, of course, the upgrades for yourself, the power armor, and then you can have the exoskeleton. You can use the personal robot part to have construction robot. Unfortunately, not also fighting robots. That was one of my regrets there. Now these things, I didn't play with them too much, but if they're still the same that they were, these are essentially there to help you fight the biters. Specifically when you're attacking them. They work the same way that the grenades do, and grenades you've seen me use a lot. The grenades are endlessly useful. You want to have grenades, you can throw them from your vehicle. It's endlessly useful. You want that at all times. But the poison capsules and slowdown capsules, they're essentially debuffs. The poison will damage over time, and the slowdown will slow down their movement. They have a large area effect of 9 tiles. The problem with them is that they're not all that useful. The poison, by the time the poison has any significant value, it's quicker to just shoot them with a grenade, a regular grenade. And the slowdown is useful when you're on foot, because you can outrun the faster biters with it. But even then, you don't want to be in a situation when you are facing the biters on foot. You want to avoid that as much as possible. The only times that you will have to handle biters on foot is early on, when you don't have any vehicles yet, or specifically before you have a tank. And that's how you see me play it as well, where I would take turrets along with me and would draw them in, then I would destroy them with the turrets. Then when the waves are respawning, come in and throw grenades and fire machine gun fire and so on. Defender, Distractor, and Destroyers are all useful. Defenders are probably the ones you want to have at all times. They can be deployed at all times, and they are running after you, they shoot. Now these guys I haven't used. And the reason I haven't used them is because it takes a ridiculous amount of resources to make them. And originally I thought these are the guys that you can actually put in your Roboport and they can follow you, but no, they're exactly as the same as the Defender Capsule. So they are a consumable. You throw them and they shoot at the enemy for a while, and then they are disposed of. And now you can see here that there is some value in building them, because from a single capsule you get 5 of them. From a single defender you get 1 defender. Distractor works a bit differently. It still fires, it still has a range, it has a better range than the defender, but it has the same lifespan. This one is more used to distract the enemy from you, that's why it's called Distractor, although it does actually also defend you, it does fire at the enemy. The destroyers, they have the same range as the other two, and they last long, they last for 2 minutes before they're used up, so they are a powerful thing. I mean, it's better to use 1 destroyer than 5 defenders, but it takes exponentially more resources to make them rather than just have 5 defenders. You could see here I've set up a production line for defenders here, and even with my supply being stretched out as it is, I still managed to make, what, 627 defenders easy, and I have 36 in my pocket. So it's still better to just use defenders. Destroyers, they do more damage, but not significantly, and also their damage is electric. So they do electric damage versus physical damage, which means the defenders are better because they benefit from your upgrades. I did put in the upgrades for the turrets, both for laser and for physicals, so for bullets. And you can see the destroyer has no benefits for the damage. There's just no point in you building these things. Maybe that damage that's electric does a stun. I don't know, but it's just not worth it. Defenders may only last 45 seconds, but you can build them easily, you can build a lot of them, and they deal more damage. They deal 8 base damage, and then they can have, from upgrades, 9.6, and I probably didn't do all the upgrades either. I think I still have an upgrade left. Yes, I do. Physical projectile damage 7, so they can have even more damage than I've put in. So it is worth noting, and the defenders are very important when you don't play on a peaceful world, because you want that extra defense, that extra firepower coming from them when you get surrounded. Another thing I fortunately didn't get around because I kept forgetting about it is the personal laser defense. Again, this is useful when you actually are running from the biters on foot. That's, again, not a situation you want to be in. You want to be in a vehicle. And when you have a Spidertron isn't immortal, but if you load it up with missiles, especially nukes, even just regular missiles, it just, there's nothing that's coming close to it. But like I mentioned before, there's not really any point in using it. And in these 20 minutes that we played, we got the rocket to 10%. So I might do a stream, but it's unlikely. What is more likely that I will simply play this off stream until it gets to the 100% and just launch the rocket so that everybody sees how it looks like. But that's pretty much it for this stream tonight, folks. Now, everybody who watched me tonight, I am thankful for you to be here. Thank you for watching. The episode will be uploaded to YouTube as per usual, so anybody who wants to can also recheck it there. As of next week, we will be playing something else, so the schedule will be updated probably on Wednesday when I see what's gonna be happening, because I actually have to pick the game, and which I haven't done yet because I have trouble choosing, And also because on Wednesday we should be getting a new game instead of Space Haven, but it's actually getting released on Wednesday, so I don't know if I'll have it already. Hopefully yes, but we will see. If not, then the week after that. But on Sunday they'll be playing a new game, and we will see which one it'll be. Uh, it'll be a surprise for you for as much as it is for me. But the schedule will be updated, and I will also have the update on my Twitter. So if you're interested, by all means, go look and take it. So without any additional ado, and with this lovely ending music, we will be ending today's stream. So everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had fun with me on this Factorio trip. I will see you next week. I will see you on Wednesday. And wherever you are in the world, have a good morning, good day, good night, good evening. And I'll see you next time. See ya, folks.